Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another Sunday session. And what a Sunday it is. And today's subject will be 50 years of stories, prompted by a couple of things that are going on in the world today. So, in my world, last night was a 50/100 year celebration of football locally. So 50 years have been combined as the HKFC, celebrating the legends that started it and stuff like that. And in the other parts of the world, while we're getting Muzz on, in the other parts of the world was a 50-year Enagic celebration in Japan, which I know a couple of hundred people that went to. So no through the online space, but celebrating them for getting that far. And that prompted me. It's like, well, so the farm's over 50. So how many? I don't know where you went, Muzz. 50 years of farming. Unable to add guest. I don't know. You have to jump off and jump back on again, Muzz. Try again. So 50 years of farming stories. And being that I'm not 50, so I haven't lived all of these stories, but when you listen to other people talk about the stories of the last 50 years, for example, talking about the footy club and the first president was there, original coaches were there. And, I didn't realise that the first coach of the combined team was actually the neighbour. He's just down the road there. And to go, he was first bloke to put his hand up to go, all right, we're going to coach this team to play football. After, part of the football story is it's 50 years of the combined team, but previous that, there was obviously several teams, and then you just amalgamate into a stronger team. So there's plenty of stories about 50 years. How you going, Muzz?
Good, mate. How you going? Sorry for the bloody stuff around.
It's all right. Call it a glitch in the matrix.
Absolutely. A bit of what you're saying there, mate. Bloody 50s. Lots of 50s going on.
Yeah. So, I've got stories galore of 50 years of farming, but to hear the stories last night of 50 years of the combined footy team and to meet some of those people, like the first guys that come out of Perth 50 years ago, but players to come out and teach our guys how to play a different brand of football. And we talked about influential coaches and stuff like that. They even made up some of the elder statesmen who've played at both ends of that 50 years and watched a lot of football, made up a 50-year team of some phenomenal players that we've had throughout this team, being guys that have moved to town through work, interstate players that have come in for work, guys that we've come out of Perth, paid or unpaid type thing, and making that team of the best players. And if you face that team in their prime, that would be a waffle/AFL standard football. Those guys would take down the Eagles like no problems. Yeah. I'll say that this year. Another year I might have said the Dockers, but but privilege for me last night was to meet some of these original guys that come from Perth. So they're in their 70s now. Shaking hands with the first club president of the combined clubs, and realising that the first league coach of the combined clubs was the neighbour, and going, well, he was the first bloke to go, all right, I'll put my hand up and I'll try and get these boys into a team. And they talked about, the good, they talked about the hard times. They didn't win a game for the first 3 years when they combined. So that's a lot of effort to then amalgamate a business, a couple of teams to go, all right, now we're going to be stronger, and then they're still not feeling competitive and how to get that edge. And interesting about those 50 year stories is, so we've got 50 years of farming. This farm is 62, I calculated, this year. So there's plenty of stories to be had. And then watching my Facebook feed fill up with heaps of these people that have gone to the 50-year Enagic thing in Japan, in Okinawa. And that story, it's just amazing what a farm business looks like after 50 years, what a footy club looks like after 50 years, because we've got a strong culture that was started 50 years ago. Yeah. And I suppose that's the thing that's attracted me most to the Enagic business, is the culture of acceptance and everyone can do it. That's almost a sense of what we have in the footy club, to go, all right, you come, you have a kick, everyone has a turn at washing jumpers, everyone has a turn at running boundary, everyone has a turn at running water, everyone does everything to help everyone. It's like you create this culture for where kids want to come back from school to play for the thing, which is why we've got two sides. Haven't always had two sides, but why the strength of our club remains like that. And it's a young committee because they've watched their parents and other people serve for a long time. So this young committee has the passion to go, we're going to lead this club. We're going to do things. We want players. We want to be the best we can be. And it continues this culture down. And I'm sure that is an exact mirror of what Mr. Oshiro's dream was with Enagic, to share the best water products with the world, and the business system that's phenomenal. I don't know how to explain it. You can't beat it. I don't know a single business structure that could compete with it.
No, and the beauty of it, Stuart, as you said, bringing together people to share a common goal, to share a common vision, essentially like a community.
Yeah.
And, even for the farm yourself, like you say, you've got your family at the nucleus, you and the folks, or folks and you, however you want to put it, and now it's you. But you're still the nucleus of it. You have the goal, you have the vision, bringing together the people to help you create that vision. And so Mr. Oshiro has the same thing, essentially. He started off as a family thing, essentially, closest people working together to create something with this vision of creating health, financial health and wealth, and community. What a great, and I think that's a great essential thing for any business, community project, team, etc., etc.
And I think that's probably the nail right on the head there, is you look at any business across any platform, don't care what it is. If you get some form of toxicity, whether it be, in the armed forces, you get a bad leader, the troops don't perform. They don't want to do stuff. You get a breakdown in command and stuff like that. And people, in that case, people die, which is not a thing. But you look at a business, guys work locally for certain businessmen, and depending on how that businessman runs his business, if you snap at your workers and stuff like that, you're an asshole. But then you're not going to get good workers, or if you're not paying enough, you're not going to attract the right staff that then invest emotionally in your farm as much as you are. And so then becomes this cycle of how to eliminate the toxicity for a business to last. And that's what part of my farming journey is. My kids are too young to be doing the long hours on the tractor. They've got school to do. I'd love to sit him on the tractor for 15 hours and just go, see ya.
See ya. Absolutely. And their time will come.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, all you can do is groom them as best you can, as a leader, as a father, as a boss of a business. Righto. I mean, I know, like you've said before, you're already teaching Jack the fundamentals of being a young man, young bloke, but also in starting to take on chores. He's, involved, and it's amazing hearing his progress with footy, marathons, etc., etc. These are all the building blocks of stepping up to help you out later on. And, in the meantime, until he leaves school, and hopefully he might help you later on the farm, but in the end, it'll be his decision, obviously. Yep. But, it's coming.
Yeah. But then there's a gap in business, which is where I have to be the smart one, or the better leader, is to how to have good staff, the right staff, pay the right amount, not be a dick about it, and create a good workplace environment that people want to come to work to. And as we all know, between farming, trucking, and serving our country, there's some really shit jobs, right? Sometimes you have to dig the hole. Was in Perth digging holes. I know what it's like to dig a hole. I can dig a hole through limestone rock with a shovel. Watch me. It just takes time.
It just takes time. And I think it's the hardest thing for anyone, especially, my generation and younger, is that no one wants to do that. Like any job, every job has something in it that we do not.
Yeah. You're muted, mate. I don't know how you've muted yourself. I don't know how you did that. I wonder if I can unmute you. Have you gone too hot? You must have gone hot. He'll have to go. Anyway, so what Murray was trying to say is that every job has an element of what you don't want to do, whether it be an apprenticeship and stuff like that. There is parts of that job that you don't want to do, but the world needs electricians, plumbers, road workers, all that sort of stuff. You need people to build your sheds. You need people to build your high-rise buildings. And there's some really shit jobs that no one wants to do. But some of those companies, so you want to look at a company that's, you want to buy a shed. How many guys have been building sheds for 50 years? And what does their business structure look like? So that's probably an essence of why the footy club culture works so well and why the Enagic culture works so well, is because that's what they're building is the right culture to create a good working environment and leaders and lessons to be learned within that system, which is something that not all farmers get the privilege. Not everyone has the blessings of inheriting a family farm. Sometimes it takes longer than we want. It's a different story for each farmer, but we all have a goal in the end to, as my dad has taught me, to train his replacement. And then as I'm teaching my son, or my daughter, if she chooses to, come back to the farm to be my replacement. And that's probably the father's wisdom and stuff like that. In certain, so something that, in the 50 years of me, I haven't been doing my Enagic business for 50 years. But what will that look like in 50 years? The farm will be 100. And if my Enagic business is 50 years, what will that look like? Are we talking 6825, 6827? If you don't know what that is, send me a message. I'll explain the compensation system to you. Those sort of levels of income, which you can then, like a farm, pass down to your kids, right? So these income streams, and then there's a certain amount of security. Talking about security of living on a farm, knowing that I've got a roof over my head. It's a big solid house. Trust me, it's made of concrete. It's heavy. It's not going to blow away in a tornado. I know if the power goes out, I know where the generator is. I know how much diesel I've got on farm. So having the security of their system, I know where the water comes from. I know how I filter my water and restructure my water so that I'm drinking the best water. Ta-da, I do it today. I do it every day. But it's those sort of securities that we want for our businesses, and to provide for the family. Who wouldn't want to go to work in a business that, all right, so the house is going to be there and the diesel's there and we know we can drive the tractor and we know we grow the food and we know where the sheep are lambing and we know how much food they want. So there's a security system. And then we know, as far as the online business, I make a video. It gets chopped up into reels. I post those reels. You people see the reels. You like the reels. The algorithm works. Then I get around to more followers. And then more people follow the content, right? And that's how the algorithm works. So I learnt that from these people who had learnt that within their business. So sharing that wisdom, like going to the pub and having a chat with the farmers and go, this tractor's pulling a bit funny. And someone might go, have you changed the fuel filter? Yep, changed the fuel filter. One time I had this line on an injector pump, and as they get a bit old, sometimes they get a bit weird and they suck in and they squash flat, and then you start from fuel losing horsepower. So you go, all right, have you looked at that? Oh no, I'll check that out. Maybe that's an example of that in the online space. Is here I am making what's called long form content, talking to you guys to then put that in a pub situation, and they go, well, have you tried this reel creator? Throw in your long form content, makes the reels for you, bang, easy as that. It's like finding that fuel hose sucking itself in. Just need someone to let you know on the information, and then you can expand your business. It might not be as simple as fixing a fuel line on a tractor. It might be, what do I coat my grain with to make it grow better? Ha ha. I know, and you'll have to ask me that one if you want to know. I've got advisors and stuff that I take the bits that I want from all their information and create the farm that I want to create. Like creating these videos in this group, sharing the Wednesday wisdoms and all that sort of stuff, having a chat to you guys about the lessons I've learned, because probably one of the greatest things you have to acknowledge in the world is the situation we're in right now with the information transference and how easy it is to gather information these days, right or wrong. But you can get a lot of information really quickly, which is not what our parents had. So honor your parents and remember that they did not have the same situation as you have now. So be grateful for what they've done to help you create the situation you're in, and be grateful for the situation you're in with the information you can get to have the best system that you want to do. And that's how businesses last a long time. So probably business chat over and done, people. It's just like that. We'll just leave it there. Nice and simple. You'll be able to check this out on YouTube once I post it there. And I'd like to thank all the farmers for growing all the food, caring for all the lambs, growing all the wool, all that sort of stuff. You guys are awesome. All those beef steaks, I love them. Thanks to all the truckies, because if it got to your house, it obviously went on a truck. So be grateful for a truckie that your couch is here, your TV's here, your food's in your fridge is here to put the food in. Come on a truck, didn't it? So be grateful to all the truckies, because they're awesome at getting the stuff around. And then thanks to all the veterans and service people that fight for our freedom, give us security to live in this great country, and other countries all around the world. That's what they do. Thank you. We're indebted to you forever. So peace out. Have a good one, people. That's it for today.